Hey everybody, and thanks for coming back to my YouTube channel to talk some movies with me. So I just watched John Carpenter's The Thing for the very first time. I just wanted to talk about the movie and share my thoughts and opinions on it. I will have some slight spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, go and watch it, then come on back, and I'd love to talk about it with you, and let's get a conversation going. And with all that out of the way, let's talk about John Carpenter's The Thing. The Thing is a horror sci-fi movie released in 1982, and is a remake of a 1951 sci-fi movie entitled The Thing from Another World. The Thing 1982 was directed by John Carpenter and starred Kurt Russell among an ensemble of male actors that make up a research team based in Antarctica at a remote research station. When a shape-shifting organism from another world infiltrates their facility, tensions rise as the group tries to figure out what and who among them could the creature be. First off, I love practical effects work. Not to take anything away from those that work on CGI and the tedious amount of hours and work and people that go into making those computer-generated images come to life. But there's something that I just marvel at when a team of people put something together from the creative mind, made of tangible and real resources that are available to them to make something that looks tangible and real. I have heard people praise this movie for practical effects work for years, and after seeing it, I gotta say that the practical effects work deserves all the praise that it gets. The practical effects work in this movie still looks incredible to this day. There's definitely some elements that look plastic and rubbery and kind of artificial, but when the actors are interacting with these creations, I totally buy into it and believe that they're there because I can physically see them. My eye believes that this creature exists. And the way that the mechanics on them work and the way that they move and the way that the creature opens up really adds to a sense of realism because my eye can see that that thing is physically there. There are scenes where the doctor character Blair, played by Wilford Brimley, has to cut open the creature to do some kind of autopsy on it. And when he cuts into it, it looks so raw and the blood's dripping and it's oozing and it looks so blubbery. And it looks so gross that I could feel like I could almost smell it. I shared in the character's disgust with this because it just looks so gross and unsettling. And the detail inside really looked like it had like organs and intestines. And the detail of that really added to the realism and the realistic feel of this thing being an actual creature that was alive and is now dead. This movie also still has a lot of effective suspense and horror in it that still worked very well for me. The first incarnation of this creature that we see is of a dog, which I found to be a brilliant idea. I can't say it was Carpenter's idea exactly because I haven't seen the 1951 version, so I don't know if it's in that film, but nonetheless the idea I thought was great because when this dog first appears, it's in trouble. It's being hunted down by a helicopter, it's being shot at, and as a human being, your first instinct is you don't want the dog to die or get hurt because as a society, we just don't like seeing animals die or get hurt in films. So my initial response was to feel concern and worry for this dog. But as the movie progresses and the way that Carpenter sets up his shots, whenever we cut back to the dog, it starts to get more and more unsettling and unnerving, and there's a sense of like something's off, something's not right here. And by this point, the dog is already amongst the researchers and is inside their facility, so that even adds to the eerie and off feeling. So I go from worrying and caring about this dog to being really unsettled and unnerved by it in a way that's very effective and I thought was beautifully well done. And I really enjoyed the psychological aspect of this movie when the guys are trying to decipher who amongst them has this thing infected. They also had some subtle hints and the actors play the roles in ways that when you listen to them speak or deliver lines, it can seem a little off and then you're wondering, wait, is that person not human? Is that the thing? Why doesn't that seem like a human thing to do? Why doesn't that sound like a human reaction? And those scenes are a lot of fun because they included me into the guessing game. I was trying to look for clues and signs to figure out who exactly among these people aren't exactly acting like people. Who could this thing be? And I really had a lot of fun with that aspect of the movie. And that aspect also leads to a very suspenseful scene where Kurt Russell is conducting some kind of blood test on his fellow co-workers to determine which one of them have been affected. And the tension of the scene keeps building and building, and I was on the edge of my seat going, alright, who's it gonna be? Who are we gonna reveal here? And when the reveals happen, the horror aspect of the movie still holds up too because they're unexpected, they're shocking, they come out of nowhere. It's the shock value that makes me jump and it's the shock value that makes me get a little scared. So I still found that the suspense and the horror holds up to this day. There were really only a few negatives that I had with this movie. The characters are weak, they're pretty one-dimensional, I didn't really care about any of them, not even Kurt Russell's character to be honest. His character didn't really intrigue me, I didn't feel that invested, and while he was a cool guy, and while everyone in the facility for the most part were cool people, and I didn't dislike any of them, I also didn't really care when any of them died, and I also didn't care if any of them were going to die. Because for the most part, they just came across as generic characters that we've seen in these kind of movies before. Also, there were times where I felt like the movie kind of dragged a bit. I wanted it to pick up a little faster. There were some slow parts, some moments where I was like, alright, come on, let's get to the thing. Let's get to the creature. Come on, guys. It's getting a little slow here, but let's pick it up. And I did feel like the horror aspect of the movie came in a little bit later into the film, a little later than some people might want it to be. I'm not a big horror movie fan myself, so it didn't bother me too much, but if you are a horror movie fan, that might be something that bothers you. but I do think the suspense of the movie is strong enough to carry you to that moment. But for the most part, I had a really fun time with this movie. It is very much like a B-grade creature feature film from the 50s, just a little bit more updated with better effects, which makes sense given its source material. And I can't say that I found this movie to be great or phenomenal anyways. I definitely liked it. I think it's alright. There was a lot in it actually that reminded me of Ridley Scott's first Alien movie, with this alien creature invading this isolated area and group of people, minus the body impersonating, of course. But the star of this movie is definitely the special effects and makeup work. And I gotta say, as someone who watched this movie for the first time with fresh eyes, never seen it before, all these years later, these special effects and makeup for the most part really do hold up incredibly well. They look great and every creature design is so creative and inventive and different from one another. And as a fan of practical effects work and someone who's interested in the art of filmmaking, I had a really good time with this movie and I had a lot of fun with it. I would recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. Guys, thanks again for clicking on this video and checking out my channel. What do you think of The Thing? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's outdated? Comment down below, let me know what you think about this movie. I'd love to get a conversation started with you. Once again, my name's Zachary Milne. Thanks for talking movies with me, and I hope you have yourself a great day.